Welcome back to the Two Promises podcast. Let's dive right into another exciting adventure with BD and crew as he pursues his new passion of one day finding the best, most epic bourbon. The Two Promises team sends their special thanks to Hobie and the Huckleberries for that masterful theme music. So grab a glass, relax, and enjoy responsibly.
Baby says she's leaving if I don't stop drinking wine. So I switched to whiskey, now I'm feeling fine. Drinking that smooth, smooth whiskey. No more wine. I like straight bourbon. Baby, you try the ride.
Thanks for joining us again, everyone. I am so excited about this episode. You have no idea. It's probably one of the episodes I've looked forward to recording the most outside of the first one so that we could get that monkey off my shoulder. But we are here, and I have a very special guest. And as you know, I am highlighting the very powerful women that are all around us, and I'm luckily getting to interview them and glean some of their strength and their insight. And if you've ever heard the saying that behind every great man there's a great woman, I mean, that is incredibly true on so many levels and not just in the relationship category. This podcast would be nowhere, absolutely nowhere, if it weren't for this very special guest that we're having here today, which is Nor, who is the magic behind the scenes, and she is the one that actually has got this podcast to launch on schedule and kept it running in spite of all of the technical difficulties that I have and create all around me. So Nor, thank you so much for all that you do, and thank you so much for agreeing to be on the show with me. How are you doing today?
Hi, Brent. Yeah, thank you so much for having me on this episode. Yeah, thank you so much. This is my first time being interviewed, and I'm so excited.
I am so excited to have you, and again, to let everyone who's been following me know just how instrumental that you've been. So you've been working in the podcast industry for how long?
5 years.
5 years. That's awesome.
Yes,
And did you always start in podcasting, or was this kind of a progressive journey that kind of led you here?
Yeah, so yes, I've started working online since 2013, and I was a VA of one of the business coach based in Canada, and what I was handling then was his email, and one of the tasks that he assigned me is related to his podcast, which is booking guests to his podcast, but I didn't do anything technical of his podcast. And while working with him, I realized that I was very curious with the podcasting. What is the podcast and what this podcast would help to businesses and why many people are doing it. So after we ended our contract, and because of that curiosity that I've got while working with him, I did my research, and then I realized that I'm loving it. And so then I started buying some courses related to podcasting and practicing how to edit and how can I help people from their podcast from scratch to maintaining it. And after a year of practicing, then by 2016, I think, if I remember it correctly, I was able to offer my service, and many people are loving it, and some clients are recommending my service to their friends and to their relatives or to the people that they know who wanted to have their own podcast. So it's so much pleasure, and I realized that I really love helping people voicing out and expressing their emotions and wisdom through podcasts. So I just love doing it.
You did so fantastic. I am so excited. This is truly amazing. You've given me so much to work with, and I really loved hearing your story. And I kind of want to hear a little bit more. I'll ask a few questions. So you have started, you just jumped right in, if I understand this right. You dove right in and you just started learning just by being an assistant and helping with, say, administrative duties. And then you took that knowledge and you found areas that you could be more industrious, and you found areas that, and not just for revenue, but because you could learn a skill and it was something you were passionate about, and it was a way, and of course, yeah, you can make money of it, and we need to and we want to, but it was you just started learning by doing, and then you started growing that knowledge base, and now you are helping people all over the world get their message out, which is extremely, extremely powerful. I mean, this industry is huge. I just want to introduce you a little bit more. You're from, if you don't mind, where are you from? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm from Philippines, and
And what part of the Philippines?
I'm
Because
from
I've spent some time there. I know we've talked about that. A lot of our
Yeah.
listeners haven't heard too much of this dynamic, I don't believe. But yeah, tell me a little bit about where you live and how you run your business, because I think that's extremely relevant, if that's okay.
yes, I'm from Philippines, and many people that doesn't know this. Maybe Philippines have the main major island, which is Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. And I'm living here in Mindanao, and you've been in Manila, right? So that's
So that's where I was mostly
And
working, Mindanao.
yeah, here in the Philippines, podcasting is not really that much trend here. Not many, but some people are listening to podcasts. But
Probably the data there, the internet availability with the streaming services you would need for data would probably be kind of expensive. Is that a barrier, do you think? Or is it a different, do you think it's available, people just aren't utilizing it?
yeah, I don't think so that it's because of the internet connection, because
Okay.
according to the survey, Philippines is the top 3 of most social media user in Asia.
I remember when I was there, I used to tech charge or load. But I mean, that was before I had a smartphone. So I'm like in a completely different era. I'm an old man.
Yeah, I don't think it's because of the internet connection, because even the younger people here are very on social media. But I
That's
think
awesome.
because of the language, because most of the podcasters are from other countries and they're speaking English, and not all Filipino would want that, but there are still Filipino that would want to listen to podcasts, especially from other countries, but not all. Most of the Filipino are just enjoying listening to like Filipino or Tagalog language that are first, yeah, for
Yeah,
Tagalog language.
there's a
only.
lot of languages there in the Philippines, not just Tagalog. That's another thing I think that I wasn't aware of. And even it's sometimes difficult for Filipinos to speak with other Filipinos. Is that correct?
Yeah, we do have like Bisaya, Maguindanao, between races, different languages and or dialects. So in different places, different dialects. And yeah, even people from Manila or from Luzon or where you've been cannot understand or cannot speak languages that is being used in Visayas or Cebu City. So even we are living in one country.
It's a very fascinating country. And while you mentioned like the 3 main islands, like there's so many other smaller islands that are a part of it. So there's a lot of separation and isolation between islands and parts of the country through water, which is
Yeah.
pretty
Yes.
incredible and really amazing. It's a beautiful country. So you will get back to kind of you live in the Philippines. Some of the big barriers are language. So Tagalog is like the national language, and it's what I'm understanding is now that's kind of a bigger push to centralize underneath that to help some of these information flow categories. Is that what I'm understanding, or did I misunderstand that?
Yeah, I think so, because most of the Filipino here are just loving. Yeah, we do have some radios here. We do have some famous influencer here, some famous
I mean, Manny Pacquiao.
vlogger here.
Holy cow.
Yeah, yeah, we do have some famous entertainment
You all are
or
worldwide.
channels here.
So-
But yeah, most of us, maybe I include myself, is loving hearing the Tagalog language rather than English, because we do speak English here, but sometimes we just wanted to like listen or watch the most comfortable language that we're using. So
Absolutely.
and not all of the Filipino here, I'm not sure what's the percentage. Not all of the Filipino really know what's podcast and what's the podcast. Most of the Filipino just know radio, television. So
And karaoke.
We,
We can't
somehow-
miss karaoke. karaoke machine, and it is so enjoyable. Sorry. That's where I really
Yeah,
developed my
birthday,
love for karaoke.
yeah, celebrations or events here would not be complete if there's no karaoke.
Right. So you're used to being around microphones. You're no stranger to microphones. What's your favorite karaoke
Yeah,
song
yeah,
to sing?
yeah. I have this my favorite actress. Actually, I came to one of her concert last 2019,
Who's this?
all the way from Mindanao to Manila just to watch her concert. She is
Excellent.
Sarah Geronimo, and every song that she has, I sing every song that he has in karaoke, that she has in karaoke. So
What's her name again? I'm
I just
sorry.
love
That's beautiful.
it's Sarah Geronimo.
Okay. Awesome. I'll have to do my research and listen to some of her work. Thank you for sharing that. So you sing her songs in karaoke and you went to the concert. You want to tell me about that concert experience? What was the excitement? What was the travel like? Was it what you expected?
It was not because first we booked a flight. Our flight was supposed to be 8 a.m. Then the concert will be at 6 p.m. that day. And because of some air problem,
Mhm.
I don't know, I don't understand the problem above. So we were not able to fly at 8 a.m. So the flight got delayed and we were able to fly at 1 p.m. And from airport, there will be like 1 to 2 hours travel from airport international Naiya, from airport to Cavite where the concerts were held. So we and I was so worried because I did both a VIP ticket, not much amount, it's just $100 in USD currency. So I did both a VIP ticket just to be able
Get the full
because
experience.
if you're
Yeah, for
not
sure.
yeah, so I was very worried because I didn't want it to like go at waste just because of the flight delayed. And before the flight, I got sick, maybe because I was so
Mm-hmm.
excited and I got sick and I'm not so feeling well. I'm coughing and I'm not really that feeling well. Then while I was in the concert, I was not able to like shout like a fan girl because I was not feeling well
Oh.
and I didn't want to like to her to see me that I'm coughing maybe because I was just so shy. Then since I was the only one who traveled from Mindanao to Luzon just to see her, I was able to bring at the stage. They asked me to go to the stage and introduce me to her, and because they just appreciate what I did from Mindanao to Luzon just to see her. So I was able to go to the stage with her and be interviewed, and that was so.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah,
That is
I am so
so
serious.
cool. Ah,
Yeah, and that's one of the amazing days of my life. So, yeah, I
that's so
cannot forget.
exciting. So sometimes, if you don't mind me just kind of just chatting for a little bit, sometimes in terms of positive psychology and stuff, is we have these expectations because we're planning things, which is very important. Like the delayed gratification piece is so important. So you have this expectation. You're going to see your superstar. You're going to see this person that you sing her songs. You're excited to meet her. There's just so many emotional connections you have with this person. And then all of the events kind of unfold. Nothing happens as it is. You're nervous. You have anxiety. Maybe you're not feeling quite as well. You got air travel sickness. But you it creates a very memorable impression in our mind, and it almost makes those memories more real, so that we, while in the moment we might not be feeling the best, but when we look back on them, we almost have made that memory more powerful because we've associated so many other emotions with it and those stories. So thank you so much for sharing your story about how you got to meet Tara, right?
Sarah, it's
Sara.
Sarah.
All right, cool.
Yes.
See, I have really
Yeah,
bad ears
yeah,
sometimes. So that is exciting. You got to meet her on stage. So what was that on stage experience like? Do you remember any of it?
yeah, of course. They called me on stage and I was able to. Actually, I was with my two brothers and they were not in VIP because there's only one ticket for VIP left. So I got a like silver ticket for both of them. And because of the mixed emotions that I felt that day, I completely forgot them and I was not able to mention them that, hey, I came here with my two brothers, and somehow they blame me for that because if I did mention them while I'm on stage, they might be able to like have pictures with Sarah, and even they are not in VIP. But
Hmm.
I completely forgot them because the mixed emotion. I was so happy. I was
Yeah.
very mixed emotion that I cannot explain. So, yeah, but they understand and they completely understand, and they, because they all know, all of my family all knows that she's my favorite star since then, and it's one of my dreams to meet her. So
So beautiful.
they
So,
they completely understand.
yeah. So, what would you tell, say, I mean, I think that your experience is amazing, and a lot of people are going to have that experience too. They're going to have this celebrity that they kind of, follow and they like. I mean, it's all over the place, right? So, other people are going to have that experience. And so, for our listeners who maybe are preparing to go to a concert for that experience, what advice would you give them to prepare in advance to maximize that celebrity meeting experience?
If you go to a concert like what I did, like me who is not so feeling well, just go fight for it and don't be so silent, because I was so silent then. I didn't talk too much and maybe I just got so shocked. But after the concert and I got home, I realized that I just said to myself that I think the moment would be much memorable if I did things like a fun girl who's going to hug her when I met her. But I didn't do that because I was just so shy. So for the people that is planning to go to a concert, when you got the chance, hug the star and tell her everything that you wanna tell. And yeah, just tell her or tell him anything that you wanna say, or you wanna tell, and don't be shy because this is not a daily opportunity that can be happen to your life. So just live the moment and do what that, and yeah, just live the moment.
I love it. Yeah. And so speak up for what you want so that you can get there, I think I heard you say, and then just enjoy the moment. Live that moment. Is that kind of what I heard from there?
Yes, yes.
Awesome. So I'm going to kind of go back. I know I've been a little bit all over the place today, but it's just been so exciting to just ask you questions and kind of reconnect with the Philippines because, I'd love to visit again. But right now we're talking about that. So what's your next big dream then? You met your celebrity star. What dream do you have now that you're willing to share with us that you're looking forward to?
And to mention about the achievement, that was one of the achievements that I got just because of working, helping people with their podcast and working at home or working online.
Mm-hmm.
And just to mention the achievement before answering your question, yeah, one of the greatest achievements that I've achieved just because of working online is I was able to support my education. And that year, 2019, when I met my superstar idol or favorite superstar, I graduated together with my brother. He finished studying radiologic and technology, which I supported as well financially 100%. And that year, I marked that year 2019 was full of achievements, and I am so proud of that. So
Awesome. Yeah.
yeah,
So celebrate that for
yeah,
sure. Not just the celebrity meeting, but like huge other career goals and milestones were just hit that year. That's so exciting. Go ahead. Tell us more.
yeah, actually, my brother's graduation was April 24, and that concert was April 27. So 3 days after was the concert, and April 27 and May 8 was my graduation. So just a few days or months full of achievements, and I'm
Yeah.
so proud of that. Yeah, for the
Absolutely.
future dreams, I don't have any dreams except for my family to be better and to get my mother her own house. We don't have house right now. We're just renting, and I just want to like pay. As you don't know yet, my mother and father are separated, and they separated since I was 11 years old. And because of that, because I am the eldest, and I was the one who obligated to take care of my siblings, which is three brothers.
Yeah. Yes. The
Yeah.
it's there's a cultural difference here is in many other cultures outside of say like my Western culture or whatever, the sibling burden of family care starts way younger and is a lot more nuclear than say the American Western culture. So we are more, would say, expected or to be independent of those nuclear families till later in life. We're expected to be more independent financially, while from what I notice in the Philippines and a lot of other countries is if you're the oldest person, you're kind of the primary leader or economic breadwinner for that unit. Would you say that that's fairly accurate?
Yes, somehow there's pro and cons of that somehow.
Yeah, I'm not trying to say one's
advan-
better or worse. I was just saying that it's just different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. And here, most of the eldest would be the breadwinner, and like the eldest should be the one, the path to be followed. The eldest should be the example for all of the siblings, and the eldest is the obligated to take care after the parents, to take care of the siblings after the parents. So yes.
Yeah. So now we have a little bit more frame of reference for our listeners because most of my listeners are from the United States, so they wouldn't have understood some of these dynamics unless I kind of highlighted it for them. Okay, so thank you for tying that back together. We went from the next big dream back to the podcast stuff, which was where I was wanting to go, and you're like a mind reader. It's almost like you do this professionally for a living. You edit podcasts and make them flow well. So I'm learning, and you're doing a great job helping me with it. So real quick, I respect your time, and I know it's late there, but back on that podcast stuff, how has the pandemic affected your podcast business? Would you say it's not affected it? You're still about the same, or is it increased or decreased? What would you say the pandemic's done for your business, or at least your business, your daily life, how much work you get or whatever?
With the podcast business, I think it's not affected because there's still a lot of people that is contacting me asking for the podcast service because as we all know, pandemic makes us do things more online, right? So podcasting is already an online platform or online job. So podcasting, we already in the future. Podcasting is already in the future. So I didn't think that it affected my podcast business. And for my life, pandemic affected it somehow. Like we cannot travel to anywhere we want, and if especially my mother is not that healthy and getting sick here is not that easy because of the pandemic. So it quite somehow affected my life. So
yeah, when I was in the Philippines, I worked with a lot of their healthcare systems and their hospitals and stuff like that. And like we kind of talked about, the Philippines has a lot of islands and a lot of remote regions, and there's a lot of difficulties in getting to some of the advanced healthcare facilities, the hospitals. So for our listeners, I would equate some of the healthcare services nearby to say like a clinic. It's not a full-on hospital, so their closest hospitals are very, very difficult to get to sometimes. Not all the time. And then with that being said, there's an aging population around the world, and so you're saying that there's a lot of fear that you would have, much like all of us, but that fear is kind of compounded because of the access to healthcare in some of the regions for your parents and grandparents. Is that kind of what I was hearing there?
not really, because I am just afraid that, especially because of this virus, when we got like fever or cough or snotty nose, we might get positive on some tests of the COVID. So we were just afraid to.
You're afraid to just really be out and about. You were afraid that you were going to get infected. That was some of your biggest fears, was personal infection, not necessarily...
Yes.
Okay, personal infection,
Yes.
just rampant,
No.
just careful. Got it. Okay. My bad. I didn't know that it was that extremely personal. So, okay. Yeah, and then that's a very big fear that a lot of people all around the world share. So, All right. So luckily with the, like you're saying, your industry has not been too much affected. So you're able to continue earning money and supporting your life and helping build that nicer experience for your family and keep them safer. So that is awesome. I'm super, super happy to hear that. And I'm really excited to see your business grow. So how many more clients do you think you could support? I know you're extremely busy. You're extremely talented. Do you have a plan together? And we don't have to put this in there. This is just kind of because I'm curious. Do you have a plan together to scale your business higher to make more money? And how do you plan on doing that?
Yeah, currently I personally do everything with my business, and I think I can cater like one or two clients for now. And in the future, I am planning to like build a small company that has employees that I can send the task or the audio editing to some other people so that I can get more clients.
Excellent.
And
Would you
then
be
I
able to
can,
train? Oh, sorry. Go
yeah,
ahead. Would you be able to train someone to do that, or would you try to find someone who already has experience?
both. I'm open because I know how to start working knowing nothing, so I am willing to teach them. And if I may be able to find that has an experience, that I'm also open with that. So I'm open with both. I can train and I am open with the experience.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds exciting. That sounds like a great way ahead. And I think that you're passionate, you're so smart, you're so helpful, you're just have a heart of gold. And working with you since, probably June of last year, July of last year, whatever it was, has just been, I mean, you're literally the only bit of stability that I've had for this project and really for, my future. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for taking the time to work with me and be patient with me and really guide me in what you needed so that we could work together while I was learning through all of this. So really, without you, this would not be possible. So I cannot thank you enough. For real.
Of course, it's my pleasure, Ben. I really appreciate and I really love all of my podcast clients, and you also helping me reach my goal, which is help podcasters. And one of the things that I really like about editing podcasts is, aside from, yes, getting paid or the money, getting paid is important. But aside from earning money from it, I able to like listen the whole episode before publishing it to the world. So it is so pleasure and so privilege for me, because many podcasts, when the podcast get published, many people would listen to it, and it's so privileged that I was able to listen it first before it published to and people and publish it to the world. So it's very honorable.
Absolutely.
It's very
Absolutely.
an honor.
Yeah, because this information, this knowledge, not everyone has access to some of these lessons learned. So the fact that you're helping people get that knowledge so that we can make the world smaller, we can make the world a better place is just absolutely incredible. So I want to say thank you for your passion to doing that, but we've got more generations coming up. We've got more people that are going to be interested in podcasting. You said that you've been interested in hosting or, being hosted on podcasts, and this is your first time being on a show, right? You've been editing for 5 years. This is the first time being interviewed. Is that true?
Yeah, because I was
Go ahead. Awesome.
I was just so shy and not comfortable with my English speaking. So
Well, you
yes,
do
this
great.
is my first time.
You're way better than my Tagalog, I can tell you that much.
Yes, thank you. I can teach you Tagalog
Okay.
sometime.
Salamat. So,
Walang anuman po.
there we go. Walang naman. Perfect. Yeah, I've forgotten so much, but since I'm not trying to learn Tagalog right now, it would probably make everybody crazy if they listen to me try to learn. What would you tell somebody new getting started in podcasting? You've got 5 years of experience. You have seen it from both ends now, on the recording side, on the editing side. You've seen it from the business side, from the influencer side, everybody starting new podcasts. So what would you tell somebody brand new with the dream of, I want to have my own podcast show? How would you help them get started with knowledge right now?
First is be curious. That's one of the main attitude that you should have. Be curious, because especially when you're interviewing people, you need to be curious so that you have your content, you have your questions ready, you have everything ready for that people to ask to that people. And be consistent in podcasting. Consistency is very important, because especially when you have your listeners already and they're following your podcast, and being consistency, will be able to follow your podcast, and they will be expecting your podcast on your schedule, publishing schedule. And if you're having second thoughts about starting podcast, you should start, because it will really help you with your business, especially when you do things like coaching, or when you have some products that you want to promote. Because through your voice, through your podcast, people would have the idea of who you are and what you can do. So that's what podcast would help to your business. So don't hesitate.
You know what, Nor? You are a
So
natural. You know that? You are a natural. You're great at podcasting. You're answering these
yeah,
questions
thanks.
like so amazingly. So now, since stay confident, stay awesome, because I know that you were a little bit nervous, but you're nailing it. This is so exciting. So I don't know why you're shy, but can we try something that I talked about in a different podcast episode? The daisy, the bud, and the thorn. So I would like for you to kind of give me a daisy and a bud and a thorn for how I can improve. So you've given some advice to new podcasters who might be getting started. So I like feedback myself, because my growth is dependent on the feedback that I receive. So the daisy, bud, and the thorn is just kind of a little, almost like game that we can play. And I'll just do a recap, where a daisy is something that you really enjoy about working with me. It's like the flowering part of the flower, like the roses. It's the rose, it's the daisy, it's the flowering piece of the flower. It's the thing that you like the most. And then a bud is something that you're either excited to see develop or get better, or that with a little bit of tiny constructive criticism, it could turn into a flower. And then a thorn is something that you don't like, that it could go away. It would make this whole relationship even better. Not that there's anything wrong with any of these relationships, but it's just a way that we can grow closer together and have healthy, honest, authentic dialogue. So would you mind sharing a daisy and a bud and a thorn with me on how I can improve as a podcaster or as a, team member? Because I feel like we are a team.
Yeah, it's a good question, and I didn't think about it. And I think building the work relationship, that's very important. And I am one of your fan to your podcast, and because there's a lot of wisdom that you're sharing to your podcast, and wisdom about life, everything. You're tackling everything. You're sharing so much wisdom in your podcast, and I really love it. I am one of the fan.
Thank you.
Obviously, because I am the editor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you kind of
just
almost
looking
have
at
to be a
my-
fan. I'm glad you're loving it.
Honestly, not of the podcast that I've edited. I mean,
You have a special interest in this one because I'm so awesome. No, I'm just playing. Sorry.
yeah, maybe because some of my clients have, maybe one or two or three of my clients have similar topics, which is they're tackling similar content to their episode, and sometimes I might get boring because of that, because they talk similar topics.
Yeah.
But
When you're in the same industry,
all
they're
of-
working the same niches, it can get kind of mundane. Yeah, I totally feel you there. So no worries. That's completely reasonable in any line of work. So, and that would be a daisy and a thorn right there. Or a bud. Boom. Haha. Sorry, my bad.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show. You have no idea how long I've been wanting to have just a conversation with you, just personally. And then being able to interview you on my show makes it even better because, one, I love my show. Two, I love you. And three, it was so fun to really have this conversation. So thank you so much. Thank you for everything that you do. And I mean, it's hard for me to really sign off without talking about a beverage. So I have to talk about Kopiko coffee, the one, like the golden one. It's whenever I was in the Philippines, it was my favorite one. So whenever I can see that in the stores, that's the one that I go for. So it would make my current coffee taste so much better. But again, I don't want to talk about beverages only, because really the true hero of this whole show is Nor. So thank you for your time. Thank you for staying up late. And thank you for recording with me and everything that you do. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I'm so excited to be on this journey with you as we move forward. Thank you so much.
Of course, Ben, thank you so much. And thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you. And I still cannot believe that I am here right now talking with you as a guest. So I really appreciate you and hope people would like this.
Oh, I think they're going to love it. Thank you so much, and I'll chat with you soon.
Thank you for joining us today on this curious roller coaster of life. If this is your stop, please exit peacefully and enjoy the rest of your day. If you're ready for another one, just push play. A final note before you go: thank you. And thank you for feeling. The distillation and aging process is different for everyone. I'm not quite sure what you're ready for, so please sip slowly and enjoy responsibly.
Baby says she's leaving if I don't stop drinking wine. So I switched to whiskey, now I'm feeling fine. Drinking that smooth, smooth